What is going on, everybody? Before I even go any further in this video, I want to say I'm using a different microphone, so the quality might not be the best. It might be better, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below if this microphone is better, but it's my old mic, the one I actually started this channel off of. But pretty much we're going to take a look at the Moto G4 Play for that matter, and it's actually overall a pretty decent phone, I would say. This is a budget phone that came out in 2016, and Motorola probably since has gone down quite a bit, and that is my personal opinion. But we're just going to see how it holds up, the software, all that stuff, if it's good, if it's bad. And I do kind of have some strong opinions about it, and something that actually kind of surprises me too. But really, this phone was a budget phone that could still handle like gaming and all of that stuff. So we're just going to go into it and see how it is. But this phone came out in 2016 in May, like I said, so a little bit over 2 years old. But looking at it, I mean, it looks pretty much older than 2 years. It really reminds me of the Nexus 4, and it had a lot of bezel. It didn't have a fingerprint sensor or anything like that. So it is kind of on the, you can definitely tell it's a budget phone. Sometimes you can't tell like, oh, is this phone a budget or how much it costs? Like the OnePlus series, those phones were awesome. But in terms of this phone, you can tell, like when you feel it, it doesn't feel that premium or anything like that. Now looking at the front, it does have an IPS panel. It's 5 inches. And I personally think that this panel is really, really bad. It's a 720p panel. It's 294 pixels per inch. It's not that good at all. Especially for a budget phone, man, I would expect it a lot more, but I just don't think this panel is up to par of a lot of other panels that are out there on the market. I would even think if this phone was AMOLED, it probably still wouldn't look that good just because, you know, it's just lower PPI and it's a kind of a big screen, 5 inches. It's not massive, but, you know, for 2016, you know, this is whatever, it's a budget phone. But people weren't necessarily buying this phone for the screen, and they weren't buying it for the updates either, but surprisingly, this phone got Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, which is surprising because sometimes when manufacturers do make a budget phone, they put an older version of Android. So sometimes they would have put Android Lollipop on it if it came out in 2016. But thank God they put Marshmallow on it. And it is upgradable to Android Nougat, which is 7.1.1. And it runs pretty decent, I would say. It's pretty good. And I'm glad it got at least, you know, up to 7.1.1. Could it have handled Android 8.0? Probably. But, you know, I don't know if a lot of people owned this phone at the time for them to even waste time to, you know, push an update on it. But it's whatever. But this thing does have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 chipset, a quad-core CPU clocked at 1.2 GHz, an Adreno 306 GPU, and 1 to 2 gigabytes of RAM depending on which variant you got, whether you got the 8 GB variant or the 16 GB variant. And what is kind of surprising is that overall with those specs, you would probably assume that performance isn't that good. And I want to break this down into 2 categories like I always do. I want to say overall performance, which is pretty much closing, opening apps, loading kind of heavier apps, going through web pages and stuff, like basically everything a daily task you would do. And then I break it down into gaming and see how in gaming and performance. Now, this phone in terms of daily task is actually pretty bad, I would say. I know you guys expect me to say pretty good. It's pretty bad. I mean, when I'm opening apps, closing apps, it does hiccup quite a bit. It lags sometimes when I click the home button because it does have nav bar buttons. When I click home, sometimes it glitches, sometimes it doesn't. I would say overall daily tasks isn't too good. It's on the lower side. Opening the app store, downloading apps, it's pretty slow. But when I break it down into gaming, this thing is actually pretty good at gaming. I was surprised. At Pew Pew and Temple Run, all those games, it runs perfectly fine. It's not going to have any problems with those just because it's such a lower intensive games and apps. You're not going to have any problems with that. But when you do go into something like Real Racing 3, which on most phones it cannot handle, it usually glitches up here and there. This phone runs it perfectly fine, which I was honestly super shocked about. I was expecting this phone to be glitching everywhere and not being able to handle it, but I don't know if it's because of the 720p screen or because of the PPI is low or whatever, but this phone can handle its own, and I'm actually surprised that it was able to play a game like that because most phones cannot play Real Racing 3 at almost full speed, and this is honestly in the top 5 phones that handled Real Racing 3. Maybe this phone was optimized for it, I don't know, but it is what it is, and that was actually pretty surprising. I would say overall performance, even including the gaming, is still pretty bad because you're not going to game all that much with this phone. You're pretty much going to do basic tasks like downloading apps and going through your Facebook and stuff, and honestly this phone is not good in that sense, but it's okay. It'll get the job done. Now, probably the other worst aspect of this phone is the single-facing camera on the back. And when I looked at it, I honestly thought it was a dual camera setup, but it actually isn't. It's just one camera with a flash underneath it, and it's 8 megapixels. It's not that good. It's not even good at all, I would say. Even in 2016 standards, I mean, you had phones like the iPhone 7 came out, the iPhone 6s was already released. Not that good camera. It's 1080p. You can shoot 1080p videos. You have very basic customizations you can do in this. it is a budget phone at the end of the day. And sometimes, like I said, you can tell if a phone is a budget phone, but other times you can't. This is one of those phones that you can easily tell it's a budget phone. Now, it does have a 5 megapixel front-facing camera that you can take selfies with. Would I recommend it? Not really, because this phone isn't that good at that, but it's okay. It will get the job done, basically. This is a quick video test, and like I said, I mean, you can tell, like, the microphone and all that, but like I said, it's not that good. I mean, like, it's okay. It shoots 1080p at 30 frames per second. Here, I just have, like, a random thing. As you can see, the lighting is pretty good, but it's still, like, the video just doesn't seem that good. It seems a little washed out, and the lens is clear, which is so weird, because usually when I do, you can see my toe, but usually when I do stuff like this, you know, sometimes I do forget to clear the lens and stuff, but even in that sense, the quality isn't that bad. But in this case, the quality is still pretty bad. I'm going to try zooming in and see if when it autofocuses. It does have autofocus enabled already, so it should be able to pick it up. There we go. So there, pulled out. So it takes like an extra second. But like I said, this is a budget phone. They weren't expecting it to be like comparing to like a Galaxy Note, whatever, 5 or 6, whatever was out at the time. There was never a Note 6, but let me just zoom in a little bit too. I mean, like, it's okay. I mean, honestly, if you have the money to spend, go for it. If you need a phone that's like 60, which is what's really cheap. But overall, I mean, the camera quality just isn't that good. Now, surprisingly, this phone did come with a 2,800 mAh battery. It is removable. I would say standard battery life, just keeping it as it is pretty decent. You know, you can get a couple, maybe like probably a day on lighter usage. It's not perfect, but I mean, I would say overall it's not bad. It could have been worse, but also it is removable, so you can go slap in another battery if you want inside of it, and it's pretty good. I would really recommend you getting another battery on top of this thing, but yeah, it is what it is. Now, some other notable things to note, like I said, it does not have a fingerprint sensor, so that does kind of suck a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but it does kind of suck. The back is removable, so you can remove the battery, like I said, but you can also put in a micro SD card slot if you need to. You can change it up, add more storage, take out more storage. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you have that option on this thing. It does have a headphone jack. It does have standard USB charging on the bottom. It doesn't have USB-C or anything. And you can get this phone right now for very cheap. So would I recommend the Moto G4 Play in 2018? I would say if your usage is very minimal, if you need a budget phone, like let's say you're going on a business trip or you're going overseas, I don't know what the case is, but let's say you got to go somewhere and you don't want to bring your iPhone 10 or you don't want to bring your iPhone 8 Plus or whatever, your Galaxy Note 9. Let's say you want to bring something basic, then I would honestly, you can't really go wrong with this phone if I'm being honest. There's really not too much, room to be wrong in this sense because this phone is very cheap. Even on Amazon, this phone isn't going for that much. So in that sense, I would probably say, yeah, go for it. But even if you have an extra, I would say this price range for this phone is probably like $70, $80, less than $100. If you even have like $10 more to spend, you can get like a much better, you can get like a Galaxy S6. I think that's not even that good of a phone, but it's better than this. You can get like a Galaxy, honestly, I would even recommend a Galaxy S5 over this thing, and I would root it and custom ROM that thing to get it up to like Android 7.0 or Android 8.0. I think that stopped at Android Marshmallow, I'm not too sure though. But even that, I would recommend getting a Galaxy S5, a used Galaxy S5, or a certified refurbished. I would always recommend getting certified refurbished over used just because it is better. And it's like you get a warranty and stuff. So if you want the very basic level, I would recommend a Galaxy S5 over this thing, but really the choice is yours. I will leave links in the description for a Moto G4 and a Galaxy S5 if you want to pick them up. They all have like similarities. They have removable backs, SD card slots. The Galaxy S5 does have a much better screen, a much higher resolution screen, and it has a fingerprint sensor as well, and it has a little bit of waterproofness. So really, like I said, you can't really go wrong with any phone in this price range. Again, the Moto G4 isn't that bad, and I think if you get it now, you might enjoy it. And that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or any concerns at all, please leave it down in the comment section below. I do have a quick announcement. Like I always say, I am planning on doing another giveaway here soon. And really the last giveaway, I'm kind of waiting until that is finished off for me to ship out all those iPhones and everything, because there were 2 iPhones that were given away. So I'm waiting until those are shipped off. I'm going to give it like another week or two, just because I have to find the right iPhone, because they needed specific iPhones for their services. So I have to, and sometimes I have to ship them off. So it's going to take a minute for me to do that. I do plan on doing another giveaway here in about a month. Maybe when the new iPhones come out. I want to do another giveaway before the end of this year too, to kind of give away a lot of the phones I have laying around that I didn't resell or anything. Just keep it kind of low key, or I don't know, just keep that in the back of your head that I do plan on doing another one. I kind of want to do like 3 iPhones, maybe like 3 iPhone SEs or something, just so more people can have them and kind of for me to have more of an impact and stuff. So keep that in the back of your head. It most likely will happen, so I just kind of wanted to let you guys know. But definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any more videos or photos or whatever. That'll mean so much. Definitely check out the links in the description as well. My second channel, my SoundCloud, my Instagram, my Twitter, all that stuff is down there. I would really, really appreciate if you guys could check it out. It means so much. And if you guys ever want to talk or anything, feel free to DM me. I'm always here to listen, so definitely feel free to check those out too. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. And hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.